Hello again and welcome to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. As always, I got Olisa with me and I am Felicity. How are you today?
Very well. Good morning. You're looking very, all things bright and beautiful.
We switched. You were wearing a blazer yesterday. Today you decided to go.
I'm teaching it. It's a casual Wednesday, right?
Yeah, casual Wednesday. You're warmly welcome. I hope your day is starting out all right. And we're hoping to make it a little better with information and, of course, some laughter this morning.
Well, you can join the conversation right here. Let us know where you're watching from. Yes, use the hashtag NC Breakfast Central. Follow us at News Central TV and head to our website for more. That's www.newscentral.africa and download the News Central TV mobile app. Just head to your Play Store or iOS. So it's a Wednesday. Yes, 24th day of March 2021. What do we have again today?
Let's quickly let you know what to expect on the show. We have a few stories to keep you up to date with what you may have missed in the news. Also, the morning tea is a regular where we bring you all the latest headlines, some African dailies. We can mention as many as we can, as usual. Impact conversation follows, and today our focus is on the meeting of NATO foreign ministers in Brussels and what it holds for Africa. Then we'll move to Tanzania to find out about the big task ahead of the new president, Samia Hassan. We also have Onyinye Obaro bring us some sports updates, of course, with Olisa here on The Breakfast. And our favorite part, mine as well, our timeline. But first, stories from last night.
Yes, indeed. And we'll be beginning in Congo, where the president, Denis Sassou Nguesso, of the Republic of Congo, has won his re-election bid by a landslide. This has been reported. Then Nguesso's re-election was announced by the country's interior minister.
The 77-year-old president has ruled the country for 37 years. He has been in power since 1979, except for a 5-year period after losing elections in 1992. Now, the main opposition candidate, Guy Brice Coliles, who died on Sunday, got only 8% of the vote. I mean, the result is not surprising for a lot of people there. It's almost
one
like
of the most obvious.
Yeah, we had a guest on the show that said it's practically a dictatorship in that
37
country.
Years.
So it's, I mean, who stays? Is it your birthright, really? That's the question we should be asking. We still have in 2021 people that stay in power for this long. Quite unfortunate, really.
Well, clearly not the only example on the African continent. Let's move over. Still more news, and this time,
matters.
All about health. And we're moving from Congo to the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Has released its last confirmed Ebola patient from treatment centers. The release of the 6 patients at treatment centers in the North Kivu region could mark the end of a month-long resurgence of the 2018-2020 epidemic that killed more than 2,200 people before it was initially declared over in June 2020.
Well, 12 cases have been reported since the virus re-emerged at the beginning of February, killing 6 people. Now, it's been 3 weeks since North Kivu health authorities in that region have been bedeviled, if you may, with the latest surge of Ebola virus in the country. Well, from Central Africa, let's come to Nigeria this time, where the Navy recently kicked off an exercise called Exercise Urban Game, call it that way, as part of the efforts to strengthen its control along the country's waterways. Now, the exercise sees Nigerian Navy collaborating with its counterparts from other countries.
It will involve a display of ships, boats and aircrafts which will be deployed to secure the Gulf of Guinea. News Central was at the kickoff of the exercise.
Security has been a growing concern in Nigeria in recent times, with the latest incident involving an attack on Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State in north-central of the country. But as the country battles with securing its terrestrial security challenges, the Navy is preempting maritime attacks, hence Exercise Urban Game. This latest exercise involves the deployment of ships, tugboats, helicopters and an ART-42 aircraft to monitor activities in the Gulf of Guinea. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, inaugurated the 11th edition of the exercise Obangame on board the NNS Thunder in the commercial capital of Lagos.
Accordingly, exercise Obangame Express 2021 presents that ample opportunity for the Nigerian Navy to work together with other national and regional navies in the spirit of the Yaoundé Code of Conduct, designed to improve operational readiness, maritime domain awareness, information sharing practices, and tactical interdiction expertise to enhance the collective capabilities of Gulf of Guinea and West African nations to counter sea-based illicit activities.
The flag officer commanding of the Western Command, Rear Admiral Jason Gbassa, said the exercise will be focusing on maritime crimes hotspots to improve security operations in the Gulf of Guinea. The exercise comes against the backdrop of piracy cases, illegal fishing, illegal exploration of mineral resources, the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, and other local and international threats within the Gulf of Guinea.
The fleet will conduct several exercises, which include anti-piracy operations, protection of oil and gas facilities, fleet maneuvers, communication, vessel board, search and seizure, search and rescue, among others.
We are so encouraged by Nigeria's progress and investments in maritime security operations, and we advocate for Nigeria to lead the way in regional security. And our intent is to support our allies in their measures to bolster existing efforts. Exercise Obangame Express is one of the many ways that the United States and like-minded partners ally with Nigeria and the Atlantic Africa to address maritime security.
Exercise Obangame is designed to enhance the collective capabilities of all participating nations to counter piracy, illegal fishing, and other sea-based illicit activities.
That was put together by Bernard Akade, one of our very active correspondents here at News Central. Maritime is a big deal in this country. Security there is still a bit fuzzy, but
all right, so the Navy kicking off that exercise with the other Navy counterparts from across the world and across Africa. You know, we're seeing all those military regalia on the waterways. Brings back, I would say, interesting memories, but not a bad one for the Navy. Quite busy this period in the country. Right then, still Breakfast Central, News Central. Up next is the morning tea. Right then, and we're going straight to it. We're starting in Nigeria with the Punch this morning. Let's see what they have for us on the front page of that paper, the Punch paper in West Africa, Nigeria. Always a very busy front page.
Autumn visits Buhari. Gov say 2023 polls on the treads. That was a very highly publicized visit yesterday. There are some riders to it, though. Stop inflammatory statements. Benue governor advises Nigerians. With full-scale banditry, nobody will think of 2023 elections. As Akeredolu speaking, Buhari's second term, best time for restructuring, says Ondo governor.
Also, you can see on the front page there, protesting parliamentary workers demand, autonomy for state assemblies. And this happened in places like Port Harcourt, Jos and Ibadan yesterday. That's also on the front page of the morning paper, The Punch in Nigeria. Still sticking with Nigeria, we can go to the Daily Times in Nigeria, the Daily Times, and see what they have. They've gone for a different front page in the Daily Times in Nigeria this morning. They talk about tensions as senators trade words over size, population of constituencies. So that's another paper this morning, the Daily Times in Nigeria.
I think I'll quickly mention this one. The CBN retains economic parameters. Currency in circulation drops by 1.8%. There seems to be always a drop somewhere. Let's look at the... Which one now? I'm just trying to decide. Okay, let's do the Daily Nation.
Yeah, that's in Kenya. So we're going to East Africa now, the Daily Nation in Kenya. I hope we have the same paper. Yes, so there you have it. Crisis looms as vaccines lie idle. quite a strange one. Sets alerts 2 new more lethal strains of coronavirus have been confirmed in Kenya.
11-year union was not a marriage, woman tells court. The kind of things you hear in divorce courts. Amazing.
11-year union was not a marriage. Okay. Well, let's. So it's on the top left there. You can see the front page there. The woman there says a woman who lived with a man for 11 years in a union blessed with 4 children told court she was never his wife. The quote widow is in court to prove legitimacy of her marriage to a tycoon she met later.
Okay.
How about for a story on the front page of the Daily Nation? There's also one that shows Ruto says inside new plot to block Ruto. Still sticking with Kenya, we can go to, is it the Standard? Yes, let's go to the Standard in Kenya. Do 2 Kenyan papers for you this morning. There you have it there. This time is you can see Raila Odinga and the President Uhuru Kenyatta there. It says inside MP's fierce battle for BBI soul. It says tempers and old suspicions flared as MPs traded accusations in a bid to influence the final shape and form of BBI bill, which is the Building Bridges Initiative in Kenya. It says even as the Joint Legal Affairs Committee sought more time to compile its public participation reports.
This one says turbulence at Kenya Airways. Let me read a little bit that's there. Say riding the headwinds. The revival of the national carrier now hinges on Parliament passing a new bill that will convert it into a parastatal after it's reported a jaw-dropping 36.2 billion shillings loss for the year to December 2020 against a 12.9 billion loss in 2019.
Wow.
There's another one there that says Titanic battle for KTDA directors.
All right, still in East Africa, let's move over from Kenya. We can go to Rwanda with the New Times in Rwanda this morning to see what they have for us on their front page. The New Times in Rwanda, that's where we're going to straight up, says Rwanda to privatize 80% of state-owned forests. Says privatization of state-owned forests is expected to generate over 200 billion there in annual revenues.
It's a genocide. ADEPR Church under spot over victims remain. That looks like a sad read, but one you should. There is Africa turns to IMF special reserves for COVID-19 vaccine financing, while the rollout is causing some controversy in Kenya. It seems, I guess we should get someone to talk about that before the week is out to see what's going on in Kenya.
All right, let's go down south. A new era in Namibia we go to in the southern part of Africa. The new era front page this morning talks about vaccination off to a slow start as world fears third wave. So it looks like a slow vaccination start out there in Namibia.
Pensioner guilty of murdering lover. That's 81-year-old pensioner. Political office, not a deathbed rather. That's Amatila. You might want to find out why that comment is necessary this morning on the New Era. Guess we'll wrap things up with that for the newspaper headlines.
Yes, that does it for the morning tea. Just a few papers for you. It took about 2 in Nigeria, 2 in Kenya, also in Rwanda, and wrapping up things in the southern parts of Africa with a new era in Namibia. We'll take a quick breather. We'll come back for more right here on Breakfast Central, looking at our impact topic for today. You don't want to miss this one. Welcome back to Breakfast Central with Olisa and Felicity this wonderful Wednesday morning. We're going straight to our impact topic this morning. It takes us to Tanzania, where the sudden death of Tanzania's President John Magufuli has seen his Vice President Samia Hassan sworn in as his successor. Now, this makes her Tanzania's first female president. Magufuli won his second term last in October. He centralized power and courted controversy, if you may, a number of fronts. Now, the most recent was by claiming that Tanzania didn't have any COVID and encouraging people to take herbal concoctions to prevent it instead.
During her inaugural speech, she called for unity among Tanzanians, saying that now is not the time to look at what has passed, but rather to look at what is to come. Despite President Hassan's forward-looking stance, questions remain about how Magufuli's legacy will shape her time in office. Let's take a look at that inaugural speech, and then we will bring in our guest.
This is a time to stand together and get connected. It's time to bury our differences, show love to one another, and look forward with confidence to build a new Tanzania that President Magufuli aspired to.
All right, then, Tanzanian President Samia Hassan speaking there. But we're now joined by Elsie Yakuze, who joins us right here on Breakfast Central. She's a media consultant and columnist for the East African newspaper. Good morning, Elsie.
Good morning.
Good morning. Right then, speaking at her inauguration, President Hassan gave little indication that she intended to change course from Magufuli. What do you make of her, about her speech?
I think that what she meant to convey was that the good works that he has begun will be continued under her regime, so that people should not fear that perhaps, she's going to completely change everything, because there's a lot of good things that he initiated, and she intends, I think, to honor his legacy and continue the good work.
A major test for her presidency will be how she deals with the pandemic, coming from the background of what Magufuli did with handling of the pandemic in your country. How do you see her taking up that challenge? She's been seen in public sometimes without a face mask, but now that she is president, is his footsteps going to continue, or you see her taking a different path?
Well, first of all, I have to clarify that before Magufuli unfortunately passed away, things had already started changing. Actually, the government had changed its tune, and there were public announcements that people should, in fact, wear masks, sanitize, and try to observe social distancing. So that change was already coming. And it is my hope that it will continue, that we will now start addressing the pandemic more directly and more comprehensively. But I do not dare to speak on behalf of my president. She is still presiding over the state funeral of her predecessor and has quite politely declined, I think, to talk about herself and her intentions at this time. And out of respect for the office of the president, I think I shall also wait to see. She will let us know.
Fair enough. She will have to unveil. There's a 20-day mourning period, but questions still abound as to how she will address his legacy. We could see the emotion she shared during the funeral. There's also the perception that there is no real democracy in Tanzania. Do you share that thinking? If not, what do you see coming up? Do you see a more improved democratic system in Tanzania, or will there still be some restriction on media freedom and civil liberties?
Well, to begin with, there is democracy in Tanzania. There always has been. And like any other democracy, we go through periods of joy and things going well, and periods when we could do better. And it's true that in the last 5 years, we have seen a deterioration in the quality of our democracy. But I have to say that the tone adopted by all of the officials who've addressed us as Tanzanians since the swearing in of President Hassan has been very conciliatory. It has been inviting. With every speech, they have thanked not only the media for supporting them in informing the public about all of the events. They've also mentioned their appreciation for the support of the opposition parties. So what I read into that is a change in tone and a willingness to start opening up again and create relationships so that we can work on improving our democracy again. So I'm optimistic.
Oh, all right, so Elsie, it sounds like from what you're saying, it looks like it will be a more liberal approach from Hassan's government.
Yes, I am optimistic. That seems to be the message that is subtly being given. Like I said, we are in national mourning, so this is not the appropriate time to start talking about, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. That would be gauche of her.
Okay. We understand that there is, there's still a country to be run, even during mourning period. So as a citizen, what would be some of the agenda you would like to see after this period of mourning that she will take on to show strong leadership, to get to the people?
Well, I hope that she will address the pandemic, first and foremost. I hope that she will lift a lot of the restrictions on the opposition, on the media. I hope that she will address the economic difficulties that we are having and make it easier for entrepreneurs to work again. I think that these are the most immediate concerns that I have, and that our civil liberties are respected again.
What is the sentiment in your country? Because it's, for a lot of persons, it's a novelty, a woman being the president of a country. What's the prevailing sentiment, in spite of the mourning in the country, having your first female president?
I would say that it's a mixture, but in general, there seems to be a lot of happiness. Madam Hassan is a seasoned statesman, like I said, and she was a good vice president. And we trust that she will display strong leadership. And she has begun that already by informing us during one of her addresses that she is the president and the commander-in-chief, and a woman, but president first. So I think that we are happy, of course, a lot of women, a lot of feminists, a lot of democratic-minded Tanzanians. There is some concern, of course. We are an African country, that is inevitable. But in general, I would say that there's been quite a lot of optimism, and that makes me happy.
All right, Elsie. Madam Hassan joined politics back in 2000 when she was elected as a special seat member in Zanzibar House of Representatives. She has remained in politics, the political scene since then. 21 years later, she is now president. What do you know about her politics before she became Magufuli's vice?
Well, I learned recently that she actually worked with civil society before she decided to join politics. And what drove her to join politics was that she would work with the community on the ground. And then when she would hear politicians talk about the situation and what they were doing to address citizens' concerns, she would see the discrepancy between what she would see working in an NGO and what they were saying. So this motivated her to enter politics so that she could address these issues and be honest about it. And then she ended up becoming a minister twice. So she had about 10 years of experience as a minister before she became vice president. And she carried out those duties for 5 years quite competently. So that's a brief summary of her journey.
All right. Okay. Before we let you go, Elsie, Madam Hassan is now the president of the country. Yes, we know she's a woman, but we know the country is still in mourning. Magufuli, from the indications that we've seen in Tanzania, was a loved president. Hence why we're having this National Day of Mourning. When all the mourning and the tears, are finished, are we seeing Tanzanians embracing Madam Hassan as president now? Will she be loved the same way, perhaps, as Magufuli was and followed politically?
Well, we've been calling her Mama Samia as a term of respectful endearment already for 5 years. So she already has a certain status with us. And so we are happy to follow her, to support her, and to embrace her as our first female president. We're very proud of that fact. as she begins her duties after our period of mourning ends. I think we are all anticipating good things.
Thank you very much, Elsie, for your time on Breakfast Central.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Wow.
I can understand the hesitancy to talk about, the task before the first lady, the president, the new president. Then again, even while mourning, there is still some chores to be carried out as a president. You still have to, by the time the mourning period is over, people expect to see certain actions, certain things to say you are really on board with the responsibility that you've been given. We mourn with the people of Tanzania, and we wish President Hassan the very best, especially as a woman. I feel extremely happy for them.
Although albeit in rather unfortunate circumstances that she's come to power. But big job ahead for the new Tanzanian president, and good luck to her and all the Tanzanian people.
Yes,
right here. Right then, we'll take another breather right here on the Breakfast Central morning program. Olisa and Felicity still with you, so we're going to get jiggy with it, that's for sure. We've got interesting discussions involving NATO and Africa, plus sports and what's been on the social media space with what's been on our timelines lately. You don't want to miss that too. Up next on the program.
Good to know you're still with us. Let's go to our second impact conversation this morning. Now, NATO foreign ministers are currently meeting to set the stage for the upcoming summit in Brussels and exchange views on the NATO 2030 initiative to future-proof the alliance, which will be at the heart of the summit. Now, NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also called the North Atlantic Alliance, is an intergovernmental military alliance between 30 European and North American countries. The organization implements the North Atlantic Treaty that was signed on April 4, 1949.
But the organization's Secretary General, that's none other than Jens Stoltenberg, said, quote, "We must be bold and ambitious to build a strong alliance for the future because of the living right now more dangerous and competitive world where challenges know no borders," he said. Now, ministers are meeting in person at NATO headquarters for the first time in more than a year, as you know, due to the pandemic, and will adhere to strict health measures.
There is one person many people are keeping an eye at the meeting, though, and that's the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. He will be using the summit as an opportunity to start rebuilding broken U.S. transatlantic alliances. Of what impact, really, is NATO to Africa? What does the summit hold for security on the continent and globally? Before we bring in our guest, let's take a look at this.
An opportunity to open a new chapter in transatlantic relations. And our NATO 2030 initiative to continue adapting the alliance will be at the heart of the summit. We have had constructive discussions on NATO 2030 over the past weeks. And I look forward to our exchange with foreign ministers. We must be bold and ambitious to build a strong alliance for the future.
All right. We're now joined by Global Affairs Analyst Collins Nweke. Thank you very much. He is in Brussels this morning. Good to see you again.
Always a pleasure, Felicity and Olisa. Thank you for having me.
All right. Before we get into what to expect out of the summit, NATO has a terrorism intelligence cell at NATO headquarters and a coordinator who oversees NATO's efforts in a fight against terrorism. What role, really, has NATO played regarding security on the continent in the past?
NATO has, up until now, played quite a limited role as far as terrorism is concerned. But that was not completely surprising because initially, terrorism was not part of its mandate. What we have seen yesterday, continuing today in the summit, is essentially what you could call a futuristic summit. Futuristic in the sense that it is looking at its long-term strategy, long-term goals and objectives. NATO 2030 actually refers to a reformed NATO that is relevant to the time, to the 21st century. And of course, terrorism has actually, been taken up as one of the major challenges of the world going forward. And now it has formed part of, its core mandate. The expectation is that today, conversations will proceed in the area of how global security will be imparted. And you cannot talk about security without talking about Africa, because come to think of it, the major terror groups in the world, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and so on and so forth, do have their antenna in Africa. And, we have seen a number of mayhem that they have unleashed from a number of African capitals. So NATO cannot do without talking about how to now include activities in Africa such that, Africa is held, and then global security then becomes the ultimate winner.
Yeah, well, Colin, it's interesting because you are currently at that summit in Brussels, and we're going into another day round of discussions there. We've just heard and seen the comments from the NATO Secretary himself, Jens Stoltenberg, about, building, bonds together. But do you think that Africa will really be felt before this, summit ends today, and, NATO will not have an impact for Africa after this?
Just to add to that, we know that the ministers are supposed to access the impact of their approach to the Middle East and North Africa to look at what more NATO can do to build stability in the region. So just try and fit that in.
Yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, I believe that part of what will go into assessing how successful this summit is would be the extent to which NATO shows preparedness to adapt. Now, let's not make any mistake about it. NATO is, an organization in a continuous reform. So from, about 62 years ago, when it was founded up until now, they haven't remained still. So we'll see that continuing to happen. I will believe that post this summit, NATO will then begin to look at how to transit from their traditional support for Ministry of Defenses, both in the Middle East, in the Sahel region, and core African countries, to how they could begin to look at possibly military boots on the ground, but also training for military personnel, but much more importantly, surveillance activities, because NATO stands the best position in the world to offer surveillance activities that will track down, the activities of terror organizations, and then take preemptive action. So these are the areas I believe that hopefully they would look at, and then Africa would benefit, and then global peace, like I said earlier, will be the ultimate beneficiary.
I was going to quickly ask you in the time that we have left to look at the impact of Donald Trump's America First policy around the world. It was felt when it came into the U.S. International alliances. We're now seeing President Biden making overtures to try and repair some of these relationships. Is this going to be a hard sell for the Secretary of State Blinken at the summit?
I have reasons to believe that Secretary of State of the United States, Anthony Blinken, has been received with open arms. I do not have any reason to entertain any fear at all that the alliance, the transatlantic alliance partners, will have any difficulties despite the dismantling efforts that Trump administration actually embarked upon, that they will have any difficulties, accepting America back into the fold. I mean, they were never gone. What we looked at during Trump's era was more of, a president who is very transactional in nature and actually concentrated on issues that he believes will deliver him political capital. That was why he concentrated on the 2% of GDP contributions that countries were meant to contribute, and then was talking about America contributing more, and then he wanted to even that out. Now, that was a fundamental misunderstanding of how NATO works, because the whole idea is this. Countries are best acting together, especially in areas where one country can't act alone. So I think the ground is very well set. I believe that countries, the transatlantic partners, will work very, very happily with Biden's administration, represented in this summit by Blinken. And most importantly, they have a slogan, America is back, is one that every European country actually welcome very well. And I think they will be consolidating that during this summit.
I wish we had more time to talk about
All right, Konesiweke. Always such a jolly good one to have you on the program. You're at the summit in Brussels, so stay put. After it finishes, we'll come back to you to ask you how far is America truly back? And does NATO welcome them with open arms back again? And what would it be for NATO and Africa going forward? Konesiweke, Global Affairs Analyst, always regular right here on Breakfast Central. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Be safe out there.
Good luck to Anthony Blinken.
No, I think they will make moves that will gladden the hearts of people. Let's see what happens.
What a slogan, America is back.
We're going on a break now. When we come back, we'll be having sports, and the First Lady of Sports here at News Central is standing by.
Right, and welcome back to Breakfast Central on this wonderful Wednesday. Don't forget you can catch us right here on social media at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and not forgetting logging onto our YouTube channel and our website for more newscentral.africa. Sports now, right on the way, and right on time is the First Lady of Sports, Onyechi Obaro. Onyechi, good morning to you. So, finally, we'll get to see AFCON qualifiers for today.
Good morning, Olisa. Of course, interesting to know that the international break will help us see our African stars return back to action for the national teams. Yes, we're going to be seeing matches from Group C, Group B, Group F, and Group K. Looking at that Group B especially, we're seeing Guinea going down against their own foe. But I must say for sure that Naby Keita, all the way from Liverpool, has something good for Guinea there. Now, he had obliged to allow his personal jet, that's his private jet there, to go bring in players from France. Remember that travel ban there would affect all African players flying their trade in France. But he was able to do something good for Guinea because he knows that they need a win in that match, being the fact that they've got just 8 points in the grouping, with Mali having 10. So they must get a win to get atop that group in Group B there. So a very crucial game for Guinea against Mali there. Then for South Sudan, Malawi, I would say that in that group there, it's a dicey one, but all odds, all favor works for South Sudan there. They've got enough time, they've got enough points to go ahead of Malawi there. Uganda, Burkina Faso, looking at Uganda and Burkina Faso in that Group B there. In Group B, Burkina Faso stands with 8 points, Uganda 7 points, so just 1 point, differentiating these two countries. So maybe Uganda can be able to pull something in their home front because they've got this home advantage. And maybe fans will work in their favor there because the 12th man does a lot of support. So maybe Uganda can get a lot of support against their own foe, Burkina Faso, and go ahead of them in that Group B there with 7 points. So if they get a win, they go ahead of Burkina Faso there. Just 1 point between Burkina Faso and Uganda. And for all the games, I'm sure that Sao Tome and Principe are the minnows in Group C. They've got no point in Group C. So maybe when they go against Sudan, who has 6 points there, they can be able to pull something through, being the fact that they're also in their homes there, they should have the favored fans there too. But if they're not able, because I'm saying them as minnows in football, if they're not able to pull something there, they won't be going through to the next round, making it to qualify for the African Cup of Nations for 2021.
All right, so Rwanda against Mozambique and Ethiopia against Madagascar are the other 2 games to watch out for today. All right, well, as they say, no minnows in football, but looks like you've got minnows, in your library, in your pocket. So I'll leave that to you, Onye. But thank you very much for joining us right here on Breakfast Central. We'll get to see you much later for In the Game.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lisa.
All right. Okay.
Red does look good on her, though. I know it has nothing to do with the sports, but it does.
First lady of sports. All right, so we're going straight to what's been on the timeline lately. So who's going first? You?
I think you should go first today.
All right, I'll just let it roll. Basically, it's No Cops. That's what it's been called. All right, so enjoy.
You got some sugar? You got vitamins? Oh shit. Okay. I gotta cook. Yo, you got a pot? Got some syrup? You got a fan? Okay. I need a flashlight. You got a flashlight for me? Yeah. I got flowers. I need a vase. Need some oil for my hair. I feel like a track star with no trophy. Like, sure do need some soap. Damn, I need some gas. Oh, you got gas? You got some hookah? Yeah.
Okay,
That is weird.
TikTok brings out all them crazy
the kind of things
stuff.
you see on timelines these days.
Hashtag no cops and people, but they were not drinking the stuff. Obviously, you can see that they've exchanged soap for wine.
All right, let's jiggy a little. You will love this one.
I begged my mum to do my dance with me.
The fun of it, I see a lot of parents.
Is that mother and daughter?
Yeah, mother and daughter. The mother is 51 and the daughter is in her 20s. So it's just a fun video. You see a lot of it on social media these days. It just warms the heart when you see parent and children, having that kind of relationship. The mother synchronized very well.
All right, and I think I need more of that, more of that. Mother didn't look bad, though. Just
51. I want to look that way when I get to that age. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's the package of the program. Lisa Physicist will be with you once again tomorrow, but we're leaving you with this interesting one on tuberculosis. Do stay with us and we'll catch you again.
Every year is World Tuberculosis Day, designed to raise public awareness about the devastating health, social and economic consequences of tuberculosis and to step up efforts to end the epidemic. Statistics have it that tuberculosis remains one of the world's deadliest infectious killers, with nearly 4,000 lives being lost to it daily and close to 28,000 people fall ill as a result of this preventable and curable disease.
The common symptoms has to do with cough, chronic cough, usually more than 2 weeks. Sometimes it might even be coughing out blood in severe situations. It also causes unintended weight loss. You just see someone that is obviously not, having acute illness, but is losing weight progressively. When someone coughs, it gets into the air and the next person can breathe the organism. So it's not by touching the body that one gets it, but through those chronic cough, it can be in the air.
Global efforts to combat tuberculosis have saved an estimated 63 million lives since the year 2000. The theme of 2021 World Tuberculosis Day is "The Clock is Ticking," which conveys the sense that the world is running out of time to act on the commitments to end tuberculosis made by global leaders.
The medication has been declared free, and it comes in a combination, fixed dose combination of rifampicin, isoniazid. Then we have what we call the paracetamide and ethambutol. And the treatment is given over 6 months. Intensive phase, that will be for the first 2 months. The continuation phase, it will be for the last 4 months.
This is especially critical in the context of COVID-19 to ensure equitable access to prevention and care, in line with the World Health Organization drive towards achieving universal health coverage. Chidima Ihanitu, New Central Television.